What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV Fantasy. Today we are looking at Malta Vibes Knockout Series 2. And before I start the video, I wanna tell you that I did some groundwork on this one. And funny enough, I saw an HLTV thread discussing this exact thing after I had done this. That basically came to the same conclusion, which is basically how this Stage 2 invited teams are seeded into the Stage 2 bracket. And how it basically should go is based on HLTV ranking. The best team is in slot number 4. And then the second best team is in slot 8. And it goes 3, 7, 2, 6, 1, 5. And based on this, this should be how the event goes based on the seeding. So Furia being number 1 ranked team is in the 4th slot, then Entropic second best, slot number 8, and so on and so forth. What you need to take into account here, though, is that the new HLTV ranking will be out on the 13th, which is when the event starts. And it very well could be that they are using the HLTV ranking for that day instead of the current ranking. And if you go check out the current ranking here, based on which I made this table, we see like Furia in 16th, Entropic, Sinners, Ents are all of these 4 teams are invited, and there definitely could be some fluctuation between these teams especially, and then maybe down here as well. Endpoint probably aren't gonna switch from this pace, but still, I'm not quite sure how HLTV rankings are calculated. I took a look at recent events that I've already finished. So basically the only big one that should matter for this is the Pinnacle Fall series. And I don't think there were like basically any of those teams. Like only Endpoint finished in 9th to 12th. I don't think that's gonna impact the ranking too much. And then yeah, I mean, because of that, I'm gonna trust that this is the ranking that basically stays for this one. But I don't know, it could change. Maybe there's like previous events that are taken out of count, and because of that, some teams change places, and that just messes up this entire table then, or at least switches some of the teams around. Either way, I'm gonna trust that this is the table that we're working with. Let's get into the fantasy part. Or let's check this first. So of course there's first this stage 1, where teams that have qualified were invited to this stage 1. I believe it's only invites actually. Yeah. All of these teams play 1 to 2 matches, and those who win 2 matches get to the next stage. Mostly, I would say these are teams that shouldn't be able to take down the entire event. I wouldn't expect basically any of these teams to be good enough for that. Like the only ones I could see have even the potential, maybe like Eternal Fire, which is the new Turkish roster with Issa as well. They have some very good pieces, I mean, they have firepower, but do they have the tactics and such? Do they have the cohesion to win an event like this? I don't think so right now. Maybe some other teams like Gorillas has a lot of good pieces, but haven't been that impressive at least yet. Mouse Next are looking good, but of course they only played against academy teams. We do have Navi Jr. with Monisi, but he's like 270 grand, so you shouldn't buy him. Pretty much, unless he continues playing that well against this opposition as well. Young Ninjas is decent. We have a lot of these decent teams. Galaxy Racer, for example, also pretty decent, who definitely could make it through. And how I'm thinking about this right now is that 4 players I want to pick from these invited teams, because I think that they are just definitely a step above other teams, except for maybe for Double O Nations, who are still very unproven. And yeah, I think there's a bit of a curse in teams that have just signed for an organization, and they usually don't do that well at the start, at least. And then I think the fifth player is going to be a cheap player from one of these teams. And I was kind of eyeing some of the players that we have here. I haven't actually done this part yet. Or did I? I did. Okay, whatever. Yeah, that was supposed to be for this. I was eyeing some of the players. I think I very well might go for ZTR for this. 178 grand is, I think, cheap enough usually. And then I checked his last month rating, which is like 0.1 better than usual. Of course, it also matters always who you are playing against. But some of these teams are pretty good and comparable in level to the others. I think Young Ninjas should make it through here. I don't know who Levadia is 169 ranked. They do have Jesus. Maybe I should consider them instead. And then Spirit Academy and South. Young Ninjas is definitely higher ranked, quite decently than all of these teams. So I would expect them to go through here. So I'm, at least right now, feeling like it should be ZTR for that role. So the question becomes, who do I want to have from these other teams, or which teams am I basically picking? So if this is the bracket, which I also want to say, I think this is horrible seeding, because why does the number 1 ranked team here have to play against the number 3 ranked team here, and the number 2 ranked team against the number 4 ranked team? That doesn't make any sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just stupid. Instead, I think always should be number 1 ranked team, number 8 ranked team, number 4 ranked team, number 5 ranked team, number 2 ranked team, number 7 ranked team, number 3 and number 5. No, number 3 and number 6. That's just how it should be every time. But either way, who do I think has the best chance out of these teams? Like either Enso or Entropic, first of all, I think very good. And Furia or Sinners. And this is where the problem comes in. You have to kind of pick which of these you always feel like is going to do the best. I think Double O Nation and One Win are decent, but shouldn't make it through this stage. LDLC and Endpoint, kind of the same. I would say Endpoint is probably the strongest one. I think Endpoint got probably one of the easiest ones. Easiest parts of the bracket. Like they should make it to the semis. Endpoint is a decent pick for this even. Like I don't think Furia and Sinners are like super favored against an Endpoint. Ensign and Tropic should be, either of them, whoever gets through should be super favored against Double O Nation or One Win. I'm feeling like this could be an Ernst pick. These are the most picked players, by the way. Lambert definitely picked quite a lot. I think he's been decent as a pick for some of these fantasy leagues. Snappy has been a bit better than usual, which makes, like, you have to always understand that in fantasy you should pick players that you should think are gonna outperform their price. That's basically, you shouldn't always try to pick the best players, but you should be picking players who you think are gonna do better than their price indicates. And I think Snappy is one of those who's in the past now, when you look at his rating for this time filter, which I think is like last 6 months, 1.0 rating, okay. Then we go last 3 months, 1.03, last month, 1.06. Of course, it matters that they have been winning, like they got through their EPL group, and they also won against Force. But partially, it's like he's been a contributing factor in some of these. He also had this, of course, this 2.44 monster rating against Heroic. sick stuff. But either way, like Snuppy is someone you should consider. The problem with players like Snuppy is that they aren't the best players role-wise, but you, as long as you don't have too many players who aren't great role-wise, you should be fine. Disha as well, I think if you're going ends, Disha should be consideration. Last month 1.16, last 6 months was 1.09, last 3 1.12, so he's on the up, you want to say, when you compare to like Hades, who is better on like stats wise, 1.16 over last 6, last month 1.19, 1.15 for last 3, so he's doing great, but his price is so much higher than Disha, so you shouldn't maybe pick him instead. It really depends. Sphinx, last month 1.19, last 3 months 1.18, very good, definitely could be considered, but again, price so much higher than Disha's. Doto 1.04, 1.02, 1.07, it's pretty tough to tell whether he's gonna perform here or not, because you should always consider these cheaper guys. Should I go for ends? That's the question. Here's the bracket again. The problem is this Entropic matchup. The thing is that I think Ents or Entropic make it through to the final, and you have to gamble between the two of them. Who's been doing better lately? I guess. I mean Entropic. I guess Ents. I mean, they did meet for the last time, I believe, in Malta Knockout Series, yeah, and Entropic won then. In EPL, Entropic did worse. In EPL, Ents did a lot better. Is this a tougher group? Yeah. Yeah, it is. But they did win against Furia and Team 1. Those are the ones you would expect them to win, and these are the ones you would expect them to lose. They did about as well as everyone should expect. Whereas Ents kind of exceeded expectations in EPL. Pinnacle Cup didn't go that well there, Ents won. But it's already a while back. It's a real coin toss for me between Entropic and Ents, so close in the world ranking as well. So it might come down to like player prices and my gut feeling. My gut feeling is saying Ents, so I'm probably going Disha, Snappy, and Ents, unless I have to change players. But I think I'm going Ents. Other side of the bracket, endpoint is consideration, and then the other two are consideration. Wait for that. Yeah. How expensive are endpoint players? Not that expensive. I mean, you can get a crucial. We kind of need an AWP. If you get crucial, you can get Mighty Max. Yeah, that was basically. But then you have extra cash. You might go for a different player than Disha or Snappy. It's an option. But endpoint have always kind of let me down in fantasy before. So maybe Sinners. The problem with Sinners is that like the good players you would love to pick are this expensive, like Oscar and Neofrag are extremely expensive, and you just kind of can't pick these guys. I don't think that's good. What about Furia then? So Furia is definitely a good pick as well. Might be Furia ends. So then I'm almost going for this. But I think ZTR is a great gamble. Who's their main op? Drop is interesting because he hasn't played for them pretty much at all. I don't know how well he's gonna do. Like, yeah, he's putting up these Furia Academy performances against other Academy teams. I think it's very risky to pick him right now. Who's their main op? Art? Yeah, they don't really have that much opping presence. Like, that's not that great main op rating. You'd go entry Art. You pick Art. This again, like, Yeah, you can't get Vini, you can't get Caserado. He's just being too good for the last event. 1.3 rating. Holy shit, he's been good. Been so good. But he's so expensive. So it's like, if we go Caserado and Vini, we could get. We can't even get like the Doto. I don't think you can go Caserado. He's just too expensive for this. Yuri's been good as well. Is this recent results as well? Not that much. What about Art? Have his entries worked out lately? Pretty well. Yeah. He's consideration. But then yeah, it's just like doesn't work out that well money wise again. Can't go Yuri Vini quite. Really, god damn it, this is a very tough one because the players are so expensive. Isrado Vini can't get Dotos, doesn't quite work out. Yuri Vini, and I guess we can Doto. 5 grand in the bank. What if we go not ends and we go Entropic instead? I don't think we can go Caserado if we go Entropic. I think Art's a decent pick because of the role. The easiness of picking a role for Art. Nickelback's been good, right? I think Nickelback's been slightly outperforming his previous results. Yeah. I think Nickelback's like the second cheapest guy. Lucky's had horrible stats for a bit now. Brad. Wow, okay, so Krad's had great month. Maybe he could continue that, and then Vini be the last guy, I guess. I mean, Vini's had decent results. Well, maybe that much. This is not. I'm not that convinced about this one. I mean, it could work out. How would this go roll? So entry. I guess Vini would be IGL. Support on Nickelback. Oh, this is not good. I don't like this team at all. Don't even have a main op. Can you go Alien? And have Alien stats being good enough to warrant picking him? No. Okay, that's a big fat no for the last month at least. What about Oscar then? Seniors did play in EPL. That's a drop off that I can kind of accept, I guess is how I think of that. I think that's an acceptable amount of drop off in form when it comes down, when you like look at who they've been playing. What if you go endpoint? Endpoint might be the option you should go for here. Boros is great for entering as well. But it might be like crucial. He's probably not Hades, so it would be crucial. Iha, Mighty Max. How much do we have in bank now? 9 grand. Much. Never the best team we could get. We could get Boros. Okay, so this uses almost all of our cash. We don't have an AWP, but we do have entry. Then we have we can go headshots on Diha. IGL Mighty Max. Snappy could also be IGL, I guess, and then support Mighty Max and ZTR with something else. Like just some safe one. I think this might be the team I go with. Boros has been, I believe, doing quite well. Yeah, I guess like pretty much how his rank rating looks like, as well as Mighty Max, I guess. No great improvement and no great like drop off either. Could you, instead of Boros Mighty Max, go for like Crucial someone else? No. Mighty Max, how much are you missing? That's an 2 grand away from 2 grand away from Surreal would be a good improvement. Good improvement upon Mighty Max. Okay. I do like this Boros option. This is something I'm definitely considering now. I'll remember this one and I'll check some other options still. Because I'm not that convinced in Endpoint. I think they are gonna make it through to the, I guess, semis. Wait, did I lost the bracket here? Did I just look at the other bracket instead? I guess so, yeah. Endpoint on, they should make it to the semis. Sinner's Furia. It's so tough to pick from Sinners and Furia. This is a tough one because the player prices are high. Like EPL was easier to pick, even though I didn't do that great in that one either, but Art, probably a good pick. What if you go like different teams? What if you do like this? But I don't think it makes sense. I still like I always sometimes see players or like teams that are not 2-2-1, and I always consider, should I go for like 2-2-1 teams more? Like teams other than 2-2-1, basically meaning 2 players from one team, 2 players from another, and 1 from the last one. And I just don't think it's worth it still. Especially in a knockout style tournament. If you don't go D-Shop. If you go Kisrado, you can't get anyone from ends. There's no way there's a 185 guy. Go Yuri, there's no 200 grand guy. What if you don't go ZTR? That's an option. So it would be, so if you go like Art, Kisrado, Snappy Doto, there's no 159 grand guy. There is a 155 grand guy. A bad rating. Oh my god, 0.62 rating over the last month. That is so bad. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I'm not picking him. I don't care. Quesarado isn't good enough to do that. Yo, Yuri, Rapidoto. It's so close to being enough for Owana. Crystal. Who is Kowana playing? AAB. Navi Junior is gonna beat him. Maybe not. I do like ZTR though. I like the other team more. I don't think that it makes sense to not go for the Boros Mighty Max team. I think this is the best I can make. Wait, this 189? Oh yeah, I didn't have Doto, right? Isha and then ZTR. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we're going with this. Obvious role is endpoints, Boros as entry fragger. Icha is probably headshots. Yep. What's the best role for you? Power view. Not main off for anyone. Port. Curating. Touch. Touch King. Great, yeah. Camper. Might be camper. I mean, it's either DH or Mighty Max IGL. I go support. Mighty Max. That is a 97% trigger rate. Yeah, you go support Mighty Max and then you go IGL Snappy and then ZTR just gets whatever is best for him. Not this. Not that. Not that. Could be this. Not that. Not that. Not that. I don't like noob. Yeah, it's gonna be camper. Safe option. And then you can throw a booster for ZTR against Evadia. I think bottom scorecard is whenever NIP youngsters get out of groups, I'll throw ZTR bottom scorecard. And then I have to think that this is, by the way, like somehow bugged. There's no way like all of these players have a this high of a ATR, like average trigger rate for best pistol round. There's no way. That's impossible. Well, endpoint took a lot or what? Wait, and why is? I guess Boros is came into the team later, right? Yeah. Boros top of scorecard is so common. Wow, okay. It was 30 bumps. So that's thick. Bait. Flash. What am I gonna throw in ZTR? Thing? This one? I guess this one. I don't know what else to put on him. I might not put on like any of the other ones. I'll show you how my fantasy is doing as well. Like there's only one going right now. Gambit lost yesterday. It's insane to me. Like I'm fine with LNZ losing to OG. I mean I like OG. He already did very good in the first game they played. So fine, LNZ's out. But then Gambit lose to freaking Team Vitality. Shiro even had a like super good match. Inter's decent for what he's supposed to be doing for the team. They just didn't do enough. Like when you look at the results, I think the ratings are like yeah, look at this. Only Zaiwu was doing that great. Like when you look at the ratings, I would assume that Gambit might have won the thing, but I guess Exile and Daphne just were bots. Exile, horrible map here. Did fine here, but not enough. Daphne just bad overall for the day. Oh god. What I'm hoping for is that I'll get some decent points if Heroic go all the way. That might still happen, by the way. Like if I'm still at 4 points right now. If Stan and Refresh are insane today, for example, against Liquid. Yeah, and they maybe if they win the entire event or something, that could be still giving me a decent placement, but we'll see. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this episode. I mean, if you enjoy this kind of content, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.